So away from some politics, in one of Kenya's most high-profile cases involving police officers concluded today with a death sentence handed to one of the perpetrators of the brutal murders. Four individuals guilty of killing lawyer Willy Kimani, his client Josephat Mwenda, and taxi driver Joseph Mwiruri was sentenced today, with the first accused, Frederick Oleleliman, receiving the death sentence. The other core, including two police officers and a civilian compliance, received 20 years sentences. Delivering the long sentences, Justice Jesse Lasset termed the crime as most heinous. Now, Shadrach Miti with the latest developments of the case that has gone on for more than 6 years.
After 185 court appearances over a period of about 7 years, Frederick Oleleliman, a former police officer, believed to have been the mastermind of the brutal murder of lawyer Willy Kimani, his client Josephat Mwenda, and taxi driver Joseph Mwiruri, has finally been sentenced. Leliman, the first accused, was handed a death sentence. His co-accused, Stephen Chaburet Morogo, was sentenced to 30 years as Sylvia Wanjohi received a 24-year sentence. Their informant, Peter Ngugi, who is believed to have facilitated the execution of the brutal murder of the three, was handed 20 years in prison.
The meticulous planning, implementation, and the brutal execution of the deceased, to say the least, this was a most foul murder, an execution that was most heinous.
This was a very complicated case in the sense that the organizers were quite sophisticated and planned every stage, and it was almost a perfect crime.
This case is one that is of significance in the criminal justice system because it involves senior police officers.
There may be no joy in this moment because we have lost 3 human beings, and it has taken 6.5 years for this case to be concluded, but there is a sense of justice.
Delivering the long-awaited sentence, Lady Justice Jessie Lasset singled out Leliman for acting in flagrant abuse of his office as a police officer and masterminding the murder. The victims' family members could not contain their emotions.
Now, the conspiracy involved high-level planning and organization, meticulously carried out. It involved sophistication and the use of technology.
We would have loved to have a higher sentence for the second, third, and the fifth accused. But we believe that this sends a strong message to the people, especially the police officers who have been given the mandate to protect Kenyans, and they turn those particular mandate to violate the other Kenyans.
We are very happy that justice has been served, and at least now Willy can rest in peace. And along the way we had lost hope. We thought it would never happen, but we really thank God because our God is a God of justice.
We had confidence with Jessie Lasset from the word go. Although haijakuwa rahisi, it was very tough, lakini Mungu ametushindania.
Mimi nimefurahia na hiyo uamuzi wa koti, na Lasset amefanya kitu ya maana sana.
The prosecution lined up 46 witnesses to testify against the accused persons, who in their defense had 36 witnesses.
Here is a case whereby you have one accused person who is acquitted because his technology and the phone and the details of his movement on that day get him acquitted. The same technology that could have acquitted the first and second accused person, showing that they could not have been at the scene when this crime occurred, is used to convict them. So the court uses double standards.
Lawyer Willy Kimani, his client Mwenda, and the taxi driver were abducted after leaving Mavoko Law Courts in Machakos County on June 23, 2016. They were leaving a court session in Mavoko where Mwenda had filed a case against Frederick Leliman. In August last year, the DCI made public the intrigues behind the murder of Kimani, Mwenda, and Mwiruri. Accordingly, Frederick Leliman, who was the architect of the murder, felt his job as a police officer was at risk after Mwenda, now deceased, reported him to IPOA. Stephen Morogo, who was the right-hand man of Leliman, witnessed the abduction of the three, Willy Kimani, Josephat Mwenda, and Joseph Mwiruri. He later accompanied them to the killing field and helped in dumping the bodies in Thika. The third convict, Sylvia Onjohi, a police officer, was the officer in charge at Syokimau police post when the deceased were brought in. She took them to the cells without booking them. The last convict, Peter Ngugi, was the informer. He was tasked with monitoring the movement of the victims and report to Leliman. He also helped in disposing of the bodies and the taxi. The convicts will serve the sentences concurrently, have 14 days to appeal. Shadrach Miti, KTN News.
Indeed, justice at last, according to the families of the victims of the killer.